Recording in progress. अरे बाप रे, बहुत इस कम लोग. Alright, so let me start with our today's lecture. 1 minute, guys. Okay, let me cross check. Can you guys hear me? Right, my voice is clear now, everyone. Can you please use the chat option and let me know if you guys can hear me? Looks good. Okay. ठीक है, so let's see. Okay, let me ask you. ठीक है, just give me a minute. Okay, I'm just checking something and we will just start. Looks good. Looks good. ठीक है, okay. So yeah, before I start, let me introduce myself. My name is Ankush, and I have around 13 plus years of experience with the multiple technologies. I work on databases, cloud, data engineers, and all those experience I'm going to share with you. So previously I got an opportunity to work with the companies like Cognizant, Infosys, Wipro, L&T, all those companies I have worked previously in my career. And yeah, now I'm handling these Learnomed technologies, and I'll be the instructor for your Azure Data Engineer. So before we start talking about the data engineers, before we start talking about the Azure, and because everyone knows what is Azure, what is cloud and all, right? So why we are talking about the data engineering, why it is booming in the market right now? Because if you see the Naukri portal, if you go to the LinkedIn, you will see a lot of vacancies are coming, especially for your data engineering point of view. In data engineer also, there are multiple data engineers are there. Like some people are called it as Azure data engineer, then we have GCP data engineer, then we have Azure data engineer, AWS data engineers are also available there. Here we are going to focus on Azure data engineer, because the data engineering related services you can use with multiple cloud platform. You can use it with AWS also, GCP also, Azure also. Why we are talking about the Azure only? The main important thing is Azure has a lot of demand in the market, and if you see in data engineering point of view, Azure is having a lot of opportunities. Okay, Azure is having a lot of opportunities, especially for the data engineers here. Now, why we are talking about the data engineer? Like before we jump into the data engineering point of view, like what are the tools and technologies are there? Why data engineers? Like what we do as a data engineer. So as a data engineer, we are. Let me share my screen first of all. Can I just stop it? Let me share my screen. Okay, so here we know in current world, everyone is talking and everyone is concerned about the data only. Everyone is concerned about the data only. We have huge amount of data. Right now, see, it is a time of internet. In the internet time, huge amount of data is getting generated. Now in order to process this data, like, see, if I take an example of my laptop, my laptop can hold 1 terabyte of data, 2 terabyte of data. I may can open 10 applications at a time, but there is a chances that now, since it is a time of internet, everyone is talking about the AI, internet, and data is becoming huge. My laptop is not enough to hold 10 terabyte of data. That is not at all possible. Not at all possible. So when I have a huge amount of data which is not processed by my laptop, that data we called it as a big data. So earlier, those who started their career into the data engineering, they used to call a terminology called big data. So what is big data? Any data which cannot be processed. So for my laptop, 1 terabyte is something that I can process. So this is not a big data for me. But whenever the amount of data is getting increased, and I'm not able to handle that data with my single laptop, that is a big data for me. So what is big data? Big data is a problem actually. And this big data, since it is a problem, there should be some solutions, right? There should be some solutions. So they have started with the solution, we called it as a Hadoop. They have started with the solution, we called it as a Hadoop. They have started with the solution called Hadoop. So Hadoop was a solution. Like earlier, the people, they were calling it as a Hadoop engineer. Hadoop engineer were there. So any data, like what are the characteristics of big data? Like when we say that, okay, it is a big data for me. So basically there are 3 V's are there. Like people are calling it as a 3 V's. 3 V's are there. These are the characteristics of big data. What are the characteristics? Like when I can say that it is a big data, the first V is, like when I say 3 V, so first V is volume. It means on daily basis, huge amount of data is going to be generated which cannot be handled by my laptop. Earlier, let's say 10 MB. Earlier we used to see the videos in 3GP, MP4 were there, right? Nowadays everyone is talking about the 4K videos. So obviously the size of your data is getting increased, correct now? So whenever we say that the huge amount of data is generated on daily basis, that is a volume. Second one is basically your velocity. How quickly this data is getting generated. See, if I'm talking about the 10 GB of data in one day, that is fine. But if every second 10 GB of data is getting generated, then it is a big data, na? Then it is also big data. How quickly, what is the velocity? It means the speed of which data is generated and processed. How quickly the data is getting generated, that is your velocity. And third one is the variety of your data. See, data is not coming with the single file format. For example, you are not getting all the time data in the CSV file format. There are different type of data you are getting. In which situation we called it as it is a big data? Whenever these 3 characteristics are there. So you get a data in different varieties also. Like you can get structural data, you can get unstructural data, you can get semi-structural data. So what is meant by structural data? Any data which can be stored in the form of rows and column, we call it as a structural data, like just like a table. Any data unstructural means which cannot be stored in the form of rows and column. Unstructural, what is that? Kind of your log file. Like if I show you this log file, right? If I just open this is a kind of log file. You consider that there is no structure. Can you see it is in the form of rows and column? No, nothing is there, right? That is a unstructured. Semi-structural data means any data which is available in the form of XML, JSON. This some format is there, some format are not there. That is called. Now these are the characteristics, like you have varieties of data. Early the main problem with, like, why we are coming with the data engineer, we already have a database, right? Then why we are talking about this? Because database can only handle structural kind of data. In the database, you take an example of Oracle or MySQL or any other database, you can store only structural kind of data in the form of table you can store. But what if I'm having a data which is unstructured? What if I'm having a data in the form of semi-structural? Can this databases can handle that? No, it is not possible. So for that we need a technology who can support multiple type of format also. So if I need one system, if my data is generated a different varieties also, in different volume also, and if it is generating very fastly also, I need one system who can process my huge amount of data. And that is the reason they have come up with the, earlier they were coming with the Hadoop technology. And now Hadoop was also having a lot of problems. Like Hadoop was very slow because it was doing a processing on disk level. They have come up with the technology, they called it as a Apache Spark. So Spark is in memory computation, which is much faster compared to the Hadoop. And now gradually when the time is getting passed, because this Apache Spark earlier, like when I started my career into the Citibank, I used to work with the Citibank. So when that time they were using a Hadoop technology, they were using Apache Spark also. But all those technologies were there on premises. On premises means what they used to do? They are going to buy their servers. Okay, they are going to buy their servers, and on that server they are going to install their softwares, like they are going to install their Hadoop softwares, they are going to install their Spark softwares. So their administrators were responsible to do the installation of these softwares. So they need to hire a special administrator called Hadoop admin, Spark admin. They are responsible to do the upgradation, installation, maybe some security concerns are there, maintenance activity, if they want to add one more node, all those things was done by the admin people, and development part was done by the developer people. So what are the challenges that we observe here? The main challenge over here is, in on premises, the initial cost is very huge. Initial cost means, like if someone is saying that, okay, I want to purchase a software, you need to purchase a software, it's costly. You need to purchase a server, it is costly. You need to purchase an operating system, you need to purchase a licensing, these are all costing. Now you need to have a team, expert team who can handle your servers, these are all costly. So initial setup is very costly, especially when you are talking about the on premises. That is the reason now all these services, you talk about the Spark, nowadays Hadoop is very rarely used. Yeah, some of the projects are still using that. So when you say that the Spark, so earlier it was hosted on premises, now you can host the same thing on your cloud also. So in cloud there are multiple vendors are there, like we have AWS, GCP, Azure. So Apache Spark was an open source technology. The person who developed this Apache Spark, he handed over that technology to the Apache and it become open source. Open source means anyone can see the code, anyone can use it completely free of cost, and that is the reason it become very demanding in the market, because you don't need to pay anything for the licensing on all. What is the good thing about the Spark? The good thing about the Spark is if you have any data, like whether you have batch data, whether you have real time data, all those data can be processed by the Spark technology. Whether you are getting a data in batch means, let's say I'm uploading some file, that is my cell file. Okay, every day 8 a.m. I'm uploading one file which has the data related to my cell, and from that I want to create a dashboard, like how is my cell. So every day I'm going to process that data with the help of Spark technology, which will show me the cell in the form of graph. Real time data means you are every second you are getting a new record, every second you are getting a new record, and you are going to process it with the help of Spark. And then just take a cricket, right? Every second, every minute a new ball is going on, and you can see the live changes there, right? The graph of Mumbai Indians and the graph of, nowadays Mumbai Indians is going down, the graph of GT and Rajasthan Royals almost same, right? So you can see it quickly in real time. So if you have a data where the real time processing is required, or if you require the batch processing, the Spark can do that. So Spark is very faster. But the developer, the who developed the Spark, he thought like, okay, Spark is good, no problem in that. The technology is really good, but it needs to be developed on the next level, because if you want to write down the Spark code, you don't have any editors. Like just take an example, if you're writing down the Java program, you are getting Eclipse. If you're writing down the Python, you are getting Visual Studio, PyCharms are there. We don't have any dedicated notebook where you can write down the note. Again, you need to purchase a servers. That is also one challenge. There should be someone, who will support this Spark, right? Who will take care of all these resources. See, main thing is, if I want to deploy the Spark, I need the resources to be allocated. So what they have done, they have come up with the technology. They have come up with the new company called, what is that company? Databricks. Now Databricks is basically internally they are using a Spark technology only. The person who developed the Spark, he only created a new company called Databricks. And this Databricks, what he has done, now let's say you want to use a Spark technology. You want to run any Spark job. When you are running any Spark job, let's say you want to process 100 GB of data, you need CPU, memory. Who will provide that? So what this Databricks has done, he has done the integration with multiple cloud vendors like AWS, GCP, Azure. Among that, Azure is really demanding in the market, because Azure is the first person who started with this. The Databricks is started with the Azure only, and then it went to the GCP and Azure, AWS. And that is the reason, if you see, most of the projects related to the data engineers are with Azure only. So that is the reason the importance of Databricks are really booming in the market. Now this Databricks is also coming with multiple other things, like for example, now when we talked about the Azure, okay, so if you want to understand about this technology, let's say you are thinking that, okay, I want to start my career as a data engineer, so you should have some basic understanding about the cloud technologies also. That is something which is must. If you know how to use any one cloud, I'm not saying that you should know only Azure only. If you know how to use AWS or GCP, you can easily understand Azure also. And anyway, I'm going to take that, okay. So we are going to talk about the Azure fundamentals also. So cloud fundamentals, we are going to talk about that. Okay, we'll take that. Understanding everyone till now, whatever we discuss, able to understand till now? Can you please use the chat option and let me know if you're able to understand? Akash is saying yes, Rakhi is saying yes, Sakshi is saying yes, Nishant is saying yes. Okay, great. Okay, Praveen is saying yes here. Who is that? Rishabh is saying yes. Neha is saying yes. Sumnath is saying yes. Vinod is saying yes. Okay, great to see you people are understanding. Okay, so when we are talking about a data engineer point of view, okay, you need to understand a multiple services. Like for example, definitely you need to understand about the cloud. You need to understand about Databricks, which is very important, very important. Like if you ask me, the most important technology in the Azure Data Engineer, then it is a Databricks. What is the responsibility as a data engineer? We are also going to create a pipeline. We are going to troubleshoot the pipeline. We are going to do the transformation. The transformations can be done by using Databricks, but apart from this, the transformation can be also done by using the data factory also. So whenever you are talking about, okay, I want to create a pipeline, I want to do some basic level of transformation, and I want to do the orchestration also. Let's take an example. I'll just give a small example. Let's say on daily basis, I'm getting some files. I'm getting some file number 1, file number 2, file number 3, file number 4. What I want to do, I want to move these files to the ADLS Gen 2, which is a storage of your Azure. I want to do the ingestion into the ADLS Gen 2 or Azure Blob Storage. So basically, I have a files which are available locally, and I want to move it to the ADLS. Then by using like, now I have I have a data, but which is not important for me. I have a raw data. This is very raw data. Now this raw data is coming from files. It can coming from your multiple databases. It can come from your on-premises. So I'm getting all this old data over here, which is the raw data. Some data are good, some data is not good. What I will do on this data, I'm going to do some transformation. Transformation means I'm going to filter out the data which is good for me. Who will do that? It can be done by using the Databricks also. Once I get data, again, if I want to write down some basic logic, you can do it by using Databricks, or you can create a pipeline by using data factory also. Data factory also can help you. Let's say you want to move a data from your on-premises SQL Server database to, let's say, Azure SQL database. I want to move the data from your on-premises. So whenever you want to migrate a data also from your SQL Server, on-premises SQL Server database to, or let's say you want to move a data from Oracle database to the SQL Server database. So this can be also done by using the data factory. The data factory can help you. So ingestion part can be done. Data factory can do ingestion part also. It can do the transformation also. It can do the scheduling part also. So whenever you are talking about the Azure Data Engineer, you need to understand about data. You need to understand about, as I said, the cloud. You need to understand about Databricks. You need to understand about data factory. Most of the time we are going to write down the SQL logic also, so you should be comfortable with that. And whenever you want to do some analytics, so Azure Synapse is also very important nowadays. Okay, that is also very important. So if you understanding this part, apart from this, many other things are there. Like if you have some basic understanding about the Git, because you are going to deploy your code, so that will be also very helpful for you. If you have some understanding about Linux, that is also add-on for you. And most important thing is, at the end, we need to understand about the projects, because that is what something that you are going to do and that you are going to explain to your interviewer. The projects, so multiple projects, we need to see that. So this is the roadmap. Like if you want to start your career as a data engineer, this roadmap you need to follow, and then you can start your career as a data engineer. Easily you can start your career as a data engineer. Okay, understanding everyone? Okay, do you have any question for me? If you have any question, you can raise your hand and you can come up with the questions if you have anything for me, or you can directly unmute also. Okay, if you have any questions for me, let me know. I'm ready to take some questions. Okay, you guys can unmute, or you guys can use the yes please.
Yeah, actually I am an RPDDO, and in my project currently we are working on Golden Gate.
What you're using? Golden
Golden Gate.
Gate.
The entire project has migrated to cloud expertise. So currently our project is not using Oracle anymore. So currently we are working on Golden Gate, to which we are replicating data to Kafka. From Kafka onwards, our data is they will load the data into the pipelines, projects, server pipelines, and so the database they're working expertise. So yeah. And now, much aware of the price point, but should I focus on the technology?
See, data engineer, when I started my career into the data engineer, this become very easy for me. I'll tell you why. Because from Oracle DBA to data engineer, these technologies are relevant only. When we are talking about the Oracle DBA, we know about the Golden Gate technologies, right? So this the same logic you are going to apply over here, because let's take an example of migration project. So we here also we are going to do the incremental migrations also. Same concept we have there also, right? We already are aware about the SQL, we already aware about the Linux also. Same concept we can understand here. Here also what we are doing, we are doing the ETL only. Means basically you are extracting transformation and at then you are loading it, right? Same thing we are doing it, just which is something new here, like that is your Python. So basic understanding of Python is required to start the career into the data engineer. Why I personally switched my career to the data engineer, only one problem was night shift. In DBA, we used to work in night shift, right? And even though you have so many years of experience, you need to work with the night shift, right? Somewhere I feel like I'm doing a repetitive work also in DBA. That is the reason I thought like it's time to do something new. And anyway, because our previous knowledge is going to be really helpful for you to understand the data engineer point of view also. So that is the reason we shift to the data engineer. Again, the package wise also it is much better compared to the DBA side. That is the reason.
So we should be good at Python.
So you should have some. Anyway, we are going to cover Python also in this class. So yeah, Python understanding is required. Okay.
Probably how many days we teach Python?
What is it?
Probably how many days we teach Python?
No, Python, like basic Python, if you know, like in a fundamentals Python, because you see in Azure and nowadays because of this AI tools and technology, it become again more easy. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, most even in the Databricks also, if you are doing some typo or if you are making some mistake, you will have some assistant is there, so who will help you. But yeah, what they are doing, we need to understand. So that is the reason the fundamentals to be at least strong. Okay. Okay, thanks guys for joining. Okay, let's continue. Thank you so much. If anybody is uh, interested, okay, um, you guys can reach out to the learner mind. Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye.